Hey there, history buffs! Today, we're going to dive into an exciting comparison of two of the most iconic female rulers in Egyptian history, Hatshepsut and Cleopatra. So, who's the greatest female ruler in Egypt? Let's find out. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. Hatshepsut or Cleopatra, who was the greatest female ruler of Egypt? Throughout Egypt's long and storied history, two women stand out as the most powerful and influential rulers, Hatshepsut and Cleopatra. Though they reigned over Egypt in different eras, Hatshepsut in the 15th century BC and Cleopatra in the 1st century BC both left an indelible mark on history. But who was the greatest? Was Cleopatra's fame merely a product of Roman propaganda and Shakespearean drama, while Hatshepsut quietly built an empire that flourished beyond expectations? Or was Cleopatra a master strategist who, despite overwhelming odds, nearly re-established Egypt's dominance? Let's pit them against each other in a dramatic head-to-head battle, examining their strengths, weaknesses, and legacies. Background and rise to power. Hatshepsut's path to the throne was not straightforward, but it was one she navigated with remarkable skill. She was the daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I and married her half-brother, Thutmose II, as was customary to keep the royal bloodline pure. When her husband died, his son, Thutmose III, was too young to rule, so Hatshepsut stepped in as regent. But rather than simply acting as a caretaker for the young king, she did something unprecedented. She declared herself pharaoh. To solidify her rule, she took on the full regalia of a king, even wearing the false beard that was symbolic of pharaonic power. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. Cleopatra, on the other hand, came to power in a much more turbulent period. Born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek ruling family that had controlled Egypt since the time of Alexander the Great, Cleopatra had to contend with family betrayals and Roman interference from the very beginning. She co-ruled with her father, then her brothers whom she eventually eliminated, and finally ruled outright. Unlike Hatshepsut, Cleopatra had to fight tooth and nail for her throne. She was ousted by her own brother, Ptolemy XIII, before making a legendary return, famously rolling herself up in a carpet to meet Julius Caesar and secure his support in reclaiming Egypt. While Hatshepsut's rise was more calculated and smooth, Cleopatra's was a desperate struggle filled with intrigue, exile, and war. If we judge purely based on political maneuvering and sheer survival instinct, Cleopatra may have the edge here. But if we're looking for a ruler who seamlessly took control and ushered in a golden age, Hatshepsut's story is hard to beat. Ruling style and achievement. Hatshepsut's reign was one of prosperity, stability, and grand ambition. She focused on expanding Egypt's wealth through trade rather than conquest, establishing strong economic ties with Punt, modern-day Eritrea, and Somalia, bringing in gold, incense, ebony, and exotic animals. Her most visible achievements were architectural. She commissioned massive building projects, including her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari, which remains one of the most stunning structures of ancient Egypt. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. She also reinforced Egypt's religious traditions, declaring herself the divine daughter of Ammon, thereby securing legitimacy in a way that left little room for dispute. Under her rule, Egypt experienced peace, economic growth, and monumental advancements. Cleopatra, in contrast, ruled during a time of great external threats. Rome was growing in power, and Egypt was increasingly under its influence. While Hatshepsut expanded trade, Cleopatra was forced to rely on diplomacy and personal alliances to keep Egypt independent. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony were not just affairs of passion but strategic moves designed to ensure Egypt's survival. She was highly educated, possibly speaking as many as 9 languages, and used her intelligence to position Egypt as a key player in Roman politics. Her reign saw significant economic reforms, including stabilizing the economy and implementing policies that benefited the common people. However, Cleopatra's rule was constantly at risk due to Rome's ambitions, making her reign more about survival than expansion. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. If greatness is measured by economic success, stability, and the ability to lead a nation into a golden age, Hatshepsut is the clear winner. Cleopatra's reign, while impressive, was largely reactive, shaped by the necessity to fend off Roman aggression. Military and political Hatshepsut was not known for military campaigns, though she maintained Egypt's borders and ensured its defenses were strong. Instead, her power was cemented through diplomacy, strategic marriages, and economic alliances. She sent expeditions to Punt, reinforced Egyptian dominance in the region, and maintained a strong, centralized government. She didn't need to go to war. She made sure Egypt was so stable and wealthy that no one dared challenge her. Cleopatra, on the other hand, was constantly embroiled in military conflicts, mainly because of her entanglements with Rome. Her alliance with Mark Antony led to the famous naval battle of Actium against Octavian, later Augustus Caesar. Unfortunately, this turned out to be a disastrous move. Despite her strategic mind, Cleopatra's political bets ultimately failed, leading to Egypt's downfall and its absorption into the Roman Empire. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. While Cleopatra certainly had a warrior spirit, her choices led to the end of Egypt as an independent power. Hatshepsut, by contrast, preserved and enhanced her kingdom without resorting to conflict. In terms of military and political foresight, Hatshepsut appears to have played the smarter game. Public image and legacy. One of the most fascinating aspects of Hatshepsut's story is how she was nearly erased from history. After her death, Thutmose III, her stepson and successor, systematically destroyed many of her statues and erased her name from records. It is unclear whether this was an act of personal revenge or an attempt to restore traditional male rulership. Whatever the reason, it meant that Hatshepsut was largely forgotten until modern archaeology uncovered her legacy. Cleopatra, on the other hand, has been immortalized through history, literature, and film. Thanks to Roman historians like Plutarch and later Shakespeare, her story became one of romance, betrayal, and tragedy. But much of this portrayal was shaped by Roman propaganda, which painted her as a seducer who manipulated powerful men rather than as a brilliant strategist and ruler. While Cleopatra is more famous today, Hatshepsut arguably left behind a more tangible legacy. Her buildings still stand, her economic policies transformed Egypt, and her reign marked an era of prosperity. Cleopatra's story, though legendary, is largely one of struggle and eventual defeat. Don't forget to subscribe to help us grow our channel. Final verdict: who was the greatest? If greatness is defined by military conquests and legendary tales, Cleopatra takes the crown. She was a political survivor who navigated one of the most dangerous periods in history with wit, charm, and intelligence. She stood against Rome, engaged in some of the most famous love affairs in history, and remains an icon of female power. But if greatness is measured by actual achievements, stability, and the ability to rule effectively without reliance on foreign powers, Hatshepsut wins without question. She took the throne during a time of peace and turned Egypt into an economic powerhouse. Her leadership was defined by intelligence, strategic governance, and long-term prosperity rather than crisis management. Cleopatra's fame may be greater, but Hatshepsut's rule was arguably more successful. While Cleopatra fought against the inevitable, Hatshepsut thrived in her own right, shaping Egypt in ways that lasted long after her reign. So, when it comes to true greatness, Hatshepsut reigns supreme. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content. Until next time, keep exploring the past.